Alright, in the top right hand side, we have Shu playing Greenfinger, as was talked about during the lobby when they were getting ready to play. Just gonna build a thief, probably get swords, as is, you know, the standard opening on this map. Thieves Den. Thief is very good for turn 1. You kill this village, you run back, and then you get ready for the next turn. Saikoya playing Emeric, and Saikoya, very well known for his Emeric play, loves to do a lot of balloon shenanigans, very good with those. So we're gonna see how this plays out. And this is a very interesting matchup because both of these commanders are quite defensive. They both have very good defensive options with their groups, but they can be used offensively as well. You can attack into your opponent with Greenfinger and then put vines up, and with Emeric and put a crystal down to keep the army alive after. Keep them a bit stronger during that counter attack. But they can also be used very defensively. Like if you have a defensive wall and you want to be like, I don't want my opponent to break this, so let me just throw down a crystal behind the army. And of course, you know, vines, you can use that defensively too. So both of them really excel from being able to use their grooves in an offensive manner and then have the follow-up to cover that. So the vines to cover counter attack points and the Emeric crystal to keep the defense high. And that's kind of where they want to be using their groove. But you will sometimes be put in a position where you're forced to use your groove defensively and keep, you know, your stronghold alive, your commander alive, your army alive. So I'm curious to see how this is going to play out. Like, it's going to come down to, like, forcing your opponent to use groove when they don't really want to. And some other interesting things, like, Greenfinger does really well with archers, and archers are very good against Emeric, because archers do a ton of damage to units under crystal. Crystal is not a I'm immortal now, it's my units are on a mountain, and archers still hit infantry really hard when they're on a mountain, and they do reduce the defense bonus that the crystal gives, which allows then follow-ups to kill stuff under crystal. And the one bad thing about crystal is that it puts all of your units in a nice little box where they could be kind of cornered and attacked. So we will maybe see some archers come out. And archers go really well with vines, because you put vines up in front of them, and they have this nice wall that they can sit behind and shoot. So, are we going to see some archers come out? And both of them going for this kind of very typical, like, sword crit onto this village to take it down. Then are we going to see Greenfinger go for the capture? Normally you will. We could also see the heal. Is another option that can take place. So what is Shu going to choose? Shu, having shown in the previous game that he is not afraid to change how he approaches maps. Did you even see Greenfinger go? Nah, like he wouldn't put it here. That'd just be a stupid place. He's going to go for a heal. Pretty standard. Builds 2 swords. And we're probably going to see something similar come out of Saikoya. Just walks the sword back. Puts the thief back. That's going to be in the hideout any moment now. I'm just really curious to see how this is going to play out. I wonder if we're going to see something. So there's been a couple players that have tried to do stuff like they have a sword and they just have it battered this gate down. This gate's less important for the thief, although it's still quite useful, because the thief ideally wants to return through this gate because then it can instantly deposit. If he goes through here, it takes an extra turn to go over these mountains and then deposit. So breaking down the back gate isn't such a bad idea if you want to break either of them down. It means that the rifle can then slowly make its way out. I am very curious if we're ever going to see a rifle built on this map. Because it is an option. People just don't, like, go for it. So what's going to come up now? Thief goes for the return. Pretty typical. Probably going to see Greenfinger. And there's this really nice chain you can go for. Oh, going for a different version on it. Normally you see this village hit first because it's the perfect amount for commander to one-shot, and then they go to this one because it'll be at 70% again. A min roll for a commander. We're going for the middle one. I guess he's going to try and knock down this one on the right. And that will give him vines. And actually, I think I know what she's going to go for. He could drop vines in here. And that would be hilarious, but also really devastating. Like, you put a vine here. Let me put one here and one here. And they would last for ages and it would trap the thief. This thief needs to get out really soon. But he could very well just trap the thief. And that would allow him to continue pushing on this side and not have to worry about the thief capture. And I actually think Emeric could do a similar play where you drop a crystal here and you just push this front with your army. So we could see some really cool plays come out. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how they're going to play this one out. I mean, this is just me coming up with ideas, right? They could be thinking something completely different. But hitting this village first makes me think that he's going to follow up to hit this one. And then go for some kind of tricky play. And Saikoya, and actually this is very similar to what we saw last match. Shu going for knights, Saikoya going for spears and a harpy. Or harpy's a new thing. Normally you'd see a balloon come out from Saikoya. Balloons are very good with Emeric because they're basically immortal when they're underneath the crystal, so... What are we gonna see come out? Alright, Greenfinger moves down, knocks the village down. This knight... Ooh, is in a knight crit range for here, so... Saikoya's gonna have to move his stuff up. But... Greenfinger Groove will cover that, so... Ooh, and she goes for a witch. I guess that's gonna be used against the harpy, but it is also very good for lethals. And it's actually incredibly useful against Emeric, because Emeric will have his army in one place where you can hex all of it. And when you flat remove health from units, they lose that defense. So, yeah, very useful against Emeric. Alright, and just pops this thief out in the safe door, because you don't want to go out this front one when the army is coming in. Alright, and what's Saikoya gonna do now? I mean, he could just kill this sword, he could take this village down. I think the mage crit on there is a coin flip though, so probably not gonna see that happen. And actually, if we take a quick look at the economy, she's super far ahead at the end of this turn. So... Saikoya's gonna need to do some damage, take some villages. And this is a very, very intense position for this Greenfinger to be. Is he going to go for it? Gets the coin flip. Gets this village knocked down. There's no recapture here, so these are all going to get captured next turn. It will take a little bit of time, but Saikoya is just going to have to go down on economy for one turn. Has a golem though, damn. Skip to build to get a golem out? Interesting. I guess he just wants something chunky to deal with like Greenfinger, and this will deal with the knights quite well. But, and this is the unfortunate thing that Saikoya is going to have to deal with, is Greenfinger's going to drop vines. He's going to put a vine here, might put a vine up here. And yeah, like it's going to be incredibly difficult to deal with. If he wanted to, he could drop like vines here, like here and here, just to block the thief in. I mean, he could also drop like a wall of vines across here. Or maybe like a block of them here. No, he just puts a wall in front of the knight. Ooh, but Greenfinger's a little bit vulnerable now. Harpy plus Spear Crit can do quite a bit of damage to a commander. I guess he really just wants to keep this knight alive. I was expecting some kind of shenanigans to block reinforcements, but this works too. And honestly, she's looking in a fantastic position. It's very similar to game 1. Big economic lead. Unit count is going to be really weird because there's going to be 5 vines being added to the mix. Okay, what are we going to see from Saikoya? So Saikoya, going to put units in places where they can capture stuff. He captures this village. He has a lot of catching up to do on the economy, so how are we going to see this work out? Right, he's up to 1,000. He's going to be at 1,100s, you know, once this gets captured. Although, ooh, he doesn't have much to cover the thief, so I mean, he could just go turbo aggressive, send the mage out and hit one of the swords, but there's a knight covering that, so not really a good idea. Probably just gonna see these units like walk back a bit. But he has to be careful. I mean, the thief can capture this actually. He may just have to eat a thief steal and be okay with that. Alright, this sword captures here. Is he actually going to try and even out the economy? I guess he can cover these two fairly easily. Although knight could come in. Hard to say. Okay. Doesn't go for the capture. It's like, yeah, there's a thief there. And actually, if the thief captures this one, they can escape quite easily. Captures this one, has a bit of more work to do to get out. So, yeah, it's not going to go for that right now. Oh, yep. Goes to capture here. There's no thief on Saikoya's side, so he's just going to hold that for a bit longer. The mage crit will absolutely take that down though, so. There's a knight. There's a lot of knights on this field. There's a lot of anti-air. Chu just like, he really takes the early econ and uses knights to follow up there. And it's so powerful. Whereas like you look at Saikoya, he's got these spears, he's got this harpy, but the power of knights, they're just so strong. What is Shu going to do now? He's already spent all his money, so we're not going to see like a Witch Axe come out or Mage Shield come down. Does he have to retreat? That could be the play. This sword's actually in a really nice position because, you know, the Golem can't reach it, Harpy can't reach it, so like the Thief Steel will be dealt with by this sword. Alright, Witch just moves across. Stays out of range of this Mage. Ooh, knocks this village down. He's just gonna move up? Okay. I want to say Greenfinger's a bit vulnerable, but he's not really. And actually, this is doing a great deal of economic harassment. It's going to keep him at that lead, 1300 to 1000. Really just keeping that lead. And I wonder what this golem's going to do. Yeah, Knight just moves out of the way. I'm curious about something. How much do you do to... Sorry, 5. I was thinking maybe like Emeric Crystal plus Harpy hit into a Witch would be okay, but I don't know if that's a good trade. Because you do 65, no, you'd still do like 50-ish on the counter attack, so the Witch would still get the better end of that trade. Saikoya, just thinking about it, turn 8, he's got a lot of time, like he's been playing quite quickly. These spears, they take so long to get to the front, and they're quite a big gold investment early on. Along with this Harpy, but yeah, like he just doesn't have the mobility to deal with what Shu's doing. Okay, gonna use the forest, hits Greenfinger. What's the follow-up play here? Has to be careful because like this mage is covering this Harpy. And he can't get Emeric into position to like support this. Like ideally you'd want like Emeric here and he can drop crystal on each side. Thief moves into a position to go for capture, I think. Alright, Harpy moves into a position where this mage can't hit it. Alright, spear comes down, so he's just gonna create a wall. Heals the golem. Good idea, keeps that very high strength unit in a good place. What's this balloon gonna do? So Saikoya continuing to build units that aren't gonna be able to get to the front very quickly. He's just gonna kind of hold back, stay a bit behind on economy. Oh, we're gonna see shield come down. And this actually, so one of the really cool things about this play is that it opens up the option to, you know, wipe out some units here off the board. Mage can crit this village now. Sword can come in and hit. Ooh, swords moves to more defensive position. Okay, goes for the capture. Are we going to see this sword move up and hit this? It would get Night Crit in return, so might not be the best trade, but it would actually do decent gold damage. Yeah, I guess Saikoya is just going to go all in on this front, try and do what he can. Alright, moves up to the left. Kind of keeping even on economy now, he's still a little bit behind, but he's doing okay. And this golem is doing really good work because it is keeping Greenfinger pinned. Well, not really pinned, but he's punishing him for going that far. Greenfinger has to respect this golem because it will, over the course of a few turns, kind of chomp him down. The Shu does have some options here. He could actually try and kill it, but it's on a forest tile on full health, so he'd have to dedicate a ton of resources into doing that. How much do you do to a speed? 80. Okay. I think he's just going to pull back off of this front. He kind of has to. This golem is way too strong. All he has to deal with it is like an injured commander. Although now a healed commander, but the golem could just continue to push forward and smack him in the face. The vines will disappear after a while. So I'm very curious how this is going to work out. I want people in chat going, I mean, it's such a bizarre game. I mean, this front's actually looking quite good for Saikoya right now. This knight can't hit anything. There's not really much up here to deal with this position. There's a ton of swords and an Emeric crystal. And if you go for the crystal, you lose all your army. Because like the swords and Emeric are just going to munch through it. But if you attack into the swords, you know, the sword's effectively on a forest. This is effectively a mountain. This is a mountain. These 3 tiles are basically mountain for Emeric right now. So, Saikoya has actually pushed Shu back. And he has the high value unit right now. This golem is the big chunky boy. So Shu just kind of has to retreat and respect what Saikoya is doing. And funnily, because of this golem, because of this harpy, like depending where this mage ends up, you know, this thief could walk up and steal this village. And there isn't really much that could be done about that. Fine goes to there. Alright, mage moves into a defensive position. Alright, so these night crits are lined up in such a way that they will hit the golem if it tries to attack in. Alright, Shu does decide to break the crystal, but I think he's going to lose a knight for it. A lot of swords will just shred a knight. And these are not in position to crit if Emeric goes for that knight, so Saikoya actually decides to pull back on this front. Realizes that, hey, I shouldn't overextend. I should be careful. There are still vines up. There are knights in position to do big knight crits. But he can capture this village, although it is a little bit risky because Greenfinger could just knock it down again. But that does mean that Greenfinger would be open to getting hit by the golem again. Okay, and Saikoya can actually just keep pushing up on this front on the top left. Buys an archer, actually double archer play. I like this a lot. They're going to be very good against these vines because the vines won't be able to block effectively against the archers. Okay, and we're going to start seeing swords coming in, doing a bunch of damage. Sword crit on the second one. Would have liked to have seen a crit come out first, because that would have dealt a lot more damage. This would have been on like 8 health, this would have been on like 90. But not the end of the world. Alright, what's going to come next? Sword crit, sword hit, and Emeric can finish off. Actually, that lines up another sword crit, so that's actually a pretty good turn for Emeric. He has to be a little concerned about like knights coming in on him, but there's only like there's like 5 units in counterattack this turn, so yeah, he needs to be a bit careful. There's a witch hex as well, so Emeric looking a little bit vulnerable. Nah, he moves the sword into a good position. Take a look at the economies. Broken even. So Saikoya has actually successfully pushed Shu back. Actually, if we take a look at the unit count, both even, which is not great if you're Saikoya. You actually want to be ahead at the end of your turn, but he does have this golem, and Shu does not have a single high power unit. He just has a lot of knights. Damn, that's a lot of knights actually. He had 6 and 1 went down. But he went down to a bunch of swords, and the thing is, Saikoya's really good anti-knight units exist. He just needs to get them to the front line. And he's got these archers now, so the knights are going to eventually struggle to break through this. They do really well in the early game, and if you can continue to pressure, they do very well in the mid and late game. But once a spear wall with archers comes up behind it, it's kind of difficult to break through that with just knights. So will Shu transition out of this very knight heavy play? Ooh, we see a big witch hex come down. Does a lot of damage actually. These swords eating a ton, and actually opens up the dog to kill that sword. So we could start seeing these knights come in and just like finish off other units. And this sword count's gonna go down. And this mage position, rather unfortunate that it can't reach like these 2 units. Okay, and wow, survives on 1%, survives on 5%. This witch is going to have a lot of fun next turn, hexing units to death. And now, Shu just shifts his entire army up to the top left. The mobility of these knights. Really coming into play. Just so many, just like, yep, I'm just going to move my whole army. And you cannot stand and fight against this many knights. Unless, even if these were all spears, like maybe he could do it, but yeah, they're just swords. They do not do well against a huge force of knights. Now the cool thing that Saikoya can do now, because this entire bottom right has opened itself up, the golem can run in, it can do its thing, thief can go for a steal. Potentially? I think it can safely grab from there, and like a sword could come up to keep it safe. But yeah, he needs to retreat on this top left. There's no way you can stand and fight here. He has to I think he has to accept that he's going to lose something here. Like, some of these swords are going to go down. And just needs to set up a big counter attack to prevent the knights from just sweeping. Right, Harpy moves up. This is the anti-knight unit, or one of them. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough balloons to keep the spears up with the knights. The knights can kind of just swing back and forth if they want. And not only that, they can go through the middle as well. Like, this middle is very open. And so, you know, you've got 2 tiles of lane to work with. Closed off at the sides because there's, you know, this village and this forest here, but they can just charge straight through and do a whole bunch of damage. Needs to be careful. Ooh, Saikoya is just going to move everything up to the top left. He's going to kind of mirror what Shu is going for. Doesn't want to play the game of... trying to counterattack. He's going to go and meet this head on and get everything in place to do so. And his army is a lot slower, so it's going to take a... bit of work to manage this, but... okay. Gonna put the swords in front. Goes for a crit on the vine, because why not? It does 3%. The hex is gonna come down and kill stuff, so I guess he just kind of has to accept that. Although actually he could drop a mage heal on a bunch of stuff. And just force other units to be used rather than just hexing everything down. But there's actually so many units that can attack that I don't know if it's really worth spending a heal to deflect a hex. Okay, big heal on that sword. So the sword retreats. So hex is gonna grab 1 sword. But it could do a lot more damage to other things. And this vine just kind of moves somewhere. Ooh, actually, I just noticed Saikoya goes for a second goal by. She's trying to break down this gate? I mean, it's exposed and he's got nothing else to do, so... is he actually going to try and break in? That's hilarious. Normally it's like you break down your own wall to like potentially get out rifles, but in this case it's actually Shu that's trying to aggressively push into this. And now he's kind of swinging down onto this front again, and he can do that. He can move his knights down to here. Is he just gonna shift to the right? I think he is. He might like drop a hex. Just, you know, to kill the swords. Do a bunch of damage. Oh, he's just gonna move everything over to the right. And we're seeing a kind of like, I guess you would say like almost like a Mongol style of play. Where it's all like cavalry shifting around and hitting where the opponent's weak. Very mobile force. And Saikoya, I mean, it's weird because it allows you to dictate the pace of the game, but Saikoya can easily just, you know, move back with it and continue to build up the golem count. I'm very curious to see if Saikoya wants to like try and counter into this by like also attacking the opponent's hideout. I mean, another play is you build a rifle here and you're like, no, back off my gate, and then you move the rifle up to like, actually you build it here and then you move it to here, and it just covers so much of this tile, so much of this side of the map. I am curious if she was gonna try and do something like night crit into this gate. And then like send his thief down to try and steal. Right, Saikoya's just like, nah, enough's enough. I'm gonna send my commander and my golem over. Ooh, this is kind of vulnerable though. Is there a night crit here? No, not there. I think this can run down and hit from the left, so has to be kind of careful because there's two sides open and a witch X. This is very intimidating. Two golems. Even if you have a lot of knights, like that's a very scary thing to have to attack it too. Yeah, people in chat saying Shu's army kind of falls off if he can't really like secure an advantage with it. But I do... Oh, actually, this is interesting. So, in order to open up like this side, you would have to spend the witch, which then wouldn't get to do a hex. And I think there's only one night crit available here. So yeah, we're not going to see any kind of lethal. This is really dangerous, but in a way where like you won't die for doing it. It's just a bit risky. What's she gonna do? Actually, what were the buys there? We've got mage, we've got a balloon, we've got a spear. Okay. The spear, balloon, melee. Actually, this is very much spear, balloon, mage. Like this army composition with some golems. And some archers to back it up. As opposed to just like mass. This is just like dogs and knights and like a golem. The core of this army is dog knight. Moves like a single harpy up here to defend. Oh no, knights are coming back. And actually, Saikoya might just win this through like a war of attrition, because the knights are kind of struggling to find holes that they can poke through. They're really good at getting that early economy lead. But once the spear walls start forming, like, what are these knights gonna do? Like, you can knight crit into spears and it's a really good damage trades. Like, they do like 80 to 90% I think against spears. Let's have a look. 50 knight crit, so it's like 75. Okay, they're not quite as much as I thought, but they hit spears really hard with crits. So you knight crit into them, they hit you back again, then you hit them back, and it works out quite well. And you can do stuff like you can knight crit and then you can follow it with like a dog or something and it will kill. She was determined to break this game, and so is Saikoya. They're both like having an arms race over here. And honestly, what Saikoya might do, he might actually try to use this to his advantage. He might let this gate fall, build a rifle, and have it push out. Because then, you know, what's Shu gonna do? Like, he has a lot of stuff that's good against rifles, but it means he can't transition into other units with the rifles coming out. Oh, and this is perfect. I mean, he could hit it with Emeric, but he doesn't have to because Emeric's going to have Groove at the end of this turn anyway. And actually, Shu has not had an opportunity to hit anything with Greenfinger, whereas Saikoya has been kind of forcing. I can't remember what he hit. He did hit something with Emeric. Oh, he killed a knight. That was it. So because that knight kill, he's going to have Groove before Greenfinger does. He's going to get a nice Emeric crystal up in a really good position. And I am very curious. I do think this is when we're going to see a rifle come out. Either this turn or next turn, because she's knocking down the gate. And because of the army positioning, I do think that Saikoya can just shove all this back. He's going to go very aggressive with this golem. Sure, might be a bit of a misplay because there is a night crit on it, but actually, I don't think the witch is in range anymore. There, no, the witch can't hex it anymore. Alright, knocks the village down with Emeric. Doesn't have to, was gonna have Groove anyway, but goes for it. You're gonna see double golem up on this side. Ooh, now this is a great play for a few reasons. And yeah, if a golem moves up to cover, so the knight crit from below is an option, but because the thief steal came in, knight can't reach below. Really good mage heal. Really, you have to keep this alive. This has to be on high health. Golem, ooh, I don't know about this, but we might see the balloon move up to cover, and that actually would be a really good option too. Balloon moves to here, spears come down, or balloon moves to here and spears come down. And yeah, sure, it can die to the mage, but you then follow up with like your archer hits, and other good stuff. Something needs to come here, because, oh, actually, no, it doesn't, because this is a flagstone tile. This thief is actually incredibly safe where it is right now. And we're seeing Saikoya bring it back. Like, he's got the steal, he has a big econ lead. And this is incredibly good play from Saikoya. And now, because all of these swords are alive and these villages are on high health, he can just heal his army up. Like, you know, these swords could get healed on like this village and this village. And he's gonna go for it. He's actually gonna keep this army alive. And that's hilarious. And, you know, the vines are down there. So let's take a look at the army count again. Big army lead. Okay, 3 of that's an income. But that's still 2 units. It's in a good place. He's gonna potentially even heal this sword up. Nah, he's gonna leave it. Night crit could take that down anyway, but damn, she has a lot of knights up in this corner. But they're kind of trapped. They can't really break this spear line. And this double golem with a mage behind it. 2 golems is terrifying to go against, especially when they have healing behind them. And Shu, with the early game aggression and the big econ lead early on, now finds himself stuck. What's he gonna do? Like, he does not have the army to deal with these spears. And Saikoya, despite being behind on economy, was like, I'm okay with being behind for a few turns. So long as I get the right army composition to deal with you, like what you're gonna have in the late game. And he's gonna have double golem with an Emeric crystal and 2 mages. and the balloon, which is going to be basically immortal, you have to spend 2 mage hits on a balloon that's underneath crystal. And we very well may be going to a game 3 here. And there's nothing good for this, like, I mean the thief could run down and steal here, but it would just die, so. Hey, like, Shu's army is just kind of like all over the place. And Saikoya doesn't actually have to care about this front anymore, because this is the one he's winning on right now. So you can kind of just sit back and defend here. This gate took some damage. Shu, are you going to continue to try and break this down? It would force a rifle by. That is the one big thing about taking this gate down. Is it forces a response from Saikoya. Alright, just backs off. Realizes that, like, taking this out actually does Saikoya a favor. It was a cool idea to, like, do that when you're in a winning position, because then you threaten to take this down, but... Okay, what's gonna happen there? Does have a bunch of options. In theory, you could actually use this balloon to, like, send this thief to, like, the forest or something. Just get it safely back. Okay, what we're seeing. Spears loaded into balloons. Oh, he's gonna do it. Spear balloon or his back. It's, like, honestly looking really strong. I could see this archer move to, like, here and shoot the dog safely. Just, like, keep this defensive line. Yep, he's gonna go for a little bit of chip damage. Actually, there's quite a bit. Well, I'll say a little bit. Oh, it lives! Oh, you sacrificed the swords. Oh, it's fine though. Because if something tries to hit this sword, you move the archer up to punish. Or even the spears. Yeah, Saikoya, he just needs to keep enough on this front to defend against, like, the ton of knights. That's a lot. Actually, the harpies are quite threatening too, because if they deal enough damage to these spears, you then have to force your mages in, which the knights will then punish. Okay. Archer knocks the village down, golem moves to go for the punish. Could see this other golem just walk down. Yeah, he's just gonna hit the swords. Takes 1% damage in return for it. And what are we looking at now? We're looking at Saikoya has the economy lead still. Could capture this village. Doesn't go for it. He realizes that he could feed Groove. Says, actually, that's not a great idea. Is gonna potentially... I think he could actually move the harpy down here to defend. Okay, moves even more spears across. Just like, I've got this big wall, like, try and break it, because this is completely horizontal, with a village in front of it, and everything. Okay, he's gonna kind of pull back a little bit on this side, I think. We're gonna bring Emeric to here? Just so he's alive. Oh, moves him into the center. Interesting. There isn't anything that can really punish him for being there. So even though a beach tile is really risky to stand on in general, there is no unit that can hit him. Only a witch hex can come down. What are the buys going to be? So he's got a mage. He could try and save for a turn. balloon. Are we gonna see another spear come out? We are. Mage, balloon, spear. The units of choice for this game. I'm so curious. And Shu, he's just gonna shift units around. He's gonna knock this down. Builds the rifle. Okay, so Shu. This is interesting because now Shu has the unit that counters all of this. Like the rifle is the perfect buy against like what he's doing, what we're seeing here. Ooh, we're seeing very aggressive positioning from Greenfinger here. This is very risky. Like he could lose the golem. He also just take a ton of damage on Greenfinger too. Shifts more of his army over to this right hand side. It's gonna kind of like, oh, this is interesting because this is gonna prevent a lot of pushing on this left hand side. Just the heal on the dog keeps that alive. Double sword by. Right, so the strength of this is it's going to keep this from pushing on the left hand side that much. But I do wonder if Saikoya could just go through the middle now and just shift everything up. He has the balloons for the transport. He has an Emeric crystal he could drop. Oh, but the knights have really good crit positions on things. This would have to be like a perfect spear line. I guess like a spear here and a spear here. No, he's gonna fight on the right hand side. And now all of a sudden you've got like mage crit open. This is gonna move out of the way. This could actually run around and mage crit this this golem. We've got options here. Alright. Damage going down on Greenfinger, more damage going down on Greenfinger. Damn, that's a lot of damage. Takes the dog out. I don't think there's like a surround that can come here. Ooh, Emeric's looking kind of vulnerable though. I mean, he can transport stuff across with the balloons though, so spears can come to reinforce this position. I do wonder, how much do you do? Alright, so mage suicide wouldn't have been possible there. RP's gonna move into a position for defending. Do you survive against mages when you're at 145? I don't think a harpy survive in that position. Alright, just moves up, gets the village capture. One spear, one archer. Okay, so this crystal's safe. A lot more defensible position. There's one mage up. Alright, so this is a really nice position to be in. The dog. This is just so hard to break because you got like mountain golems. Even if you kill a crystal, this is still a mountain golem. An Emeric on full health on a forest tile, surrounded by like other units that are effectively on mountains. This crystal cannot be broken. You would have to... There actually isn't a night crit available on this. Like a night crit can kill a mage on a mountain, I believe. But then you have to deal with the spear behind it, and there's nothing really to do that, so... This crystal is nice and cozy. Greenfinger's gonna have to pull back, and Saikoya is just looking really strong right now. And because everything's shifted over to the right or over to the center position, even though there's this rifle and it is gonna get some damage this turn, that's like a trade that Saikoya is gonna be okay with. There's a lot of resources to invest in just to defend like a tiny portion of the map. Okay, he's gonna break the gate down, so the rifle can start moving out. Alright, so mage, yeah, even if you're under a crystal. But now this mage is in a bit of an awkward position, could just get killed quite easily. Archer crit is right there. Yeah, like Shu getting a bit of damage on this left hand side, but you know, you killed a spear, injured a spear and a sword. They're just gonna, they could use the balloon to retreat if they wanted to. And yeah, like Saikoya can just continue to push up on this right hand side. And Shu is looking like he's in a really bad position. But Saikoya has to use Emeric with this push. And that does mean Emeric is vulnerable. He has to be very careful about keeping Emeric alive. Ooh. Stronghold's looking kind of open. Alright. Which moves into position to kind of cover that a bit. We could see units just get dropped here. And depending where this golem goes, it could just die. Right, and Shu, I think, realizes, hey, my stronghold's a bit open, I need to pull forces back to there. The downside of that, though, is that now Saikoya can just take this right-hand side. Golem walks back. It is open to getting hit by two different golems, though. Like, I think the thief's just dead. Ooh, that's a nice hit on the thief. But the sword's gonna die for that. He's gonna lose some units, and I think yes, Saikoya can just move. He has to move through this way, so the sword does force this to return one turn later. But Saikoya is gonna start his turn up on units, start his turn up on economy. Really good position for him to be in. Alright, Archer crit comes in. Gonna pick off more units. Emeric's looking like he's gonna have Groove again fairly soon. Good position for him to be in. And we're seeing some units get loaded up. Yeah, Archer and Spear gets loaded up. Where are they gonna go? Gonna walk back on this front. Golem comes out. Golem's perfect against rifles. Perfect against these knights. So Saikoya is just gonna use his economic lead, build golems, keep this side safe, and then push on it. What is now is very strong front for Saikoya. Wow, he's just gonna reinforce so many spears. Damn. There's unbreakable wall of spears on this side. He's gonna play it out. I mean, the timer is gonna come into play here. He's got 17 minutes left. I think he needs to kill this sword with something. Like, the golem can do it, but I don't know if he's gonna waste the golem on it. Gonna heal the golem off the village, heal the sword. The perfect amount of gold for that. Ooh, he's gonna leave this sword alive. Don't know how I feel about that. Like, this could, you know, hit a mage and do quite a bit of damage. I think he'd have been better off being proactive and hitting that with a mage. Because now this can do some nice harass. Ooh. Taking this gate down as well. I'm not sure if taking this out is a good idea. Because let's say you get a thief deal off. Actually, maybe that's not going to ever happen. So, especially in 17 minutes. Ooh, hits the archer. That's a good gold trade. Would have been better using a mage, I think, to damage this sword more. But I don't know if it matters too much, because yeah, now Saikoya can just keep pushing, keep the pressure on, keep the growing economic lead, keep the growing unit count differential. I realize one of those is a crystal, but yeah, he can just keep pushing, and even can take this village out with Emeric if he really wanted to. It depends if he wants to favor economy or if he wants to favor groove, because he could take this out with a golem first and then have Emeric capture. That might be the better play. Alright, decides to build groove. Moves the golem up. Something needs to kill this sword. Could be a spear, could be this. Or just something, because it's just going to continue to harass and do damage. Right, another golem comes out. So this is, I guess, the late game anti-rifle army, is you just build golems. Almost would like to see Saikoya get his own knights to then threaten and just like use those to go in first and have the golems back up the rest of the army. Okay, now he takes the sword down. Possibly he just forgot about it. But yeah, he's just continuing to build more and more of a lead. Like, we look at it now, 900 to 1400. He's about to get another thief steal in. This is a completely unbreakable wall, and he can just keep pushing on a strong front. And honestly, you don't even need to move forward with these units, right? Although I guess the archer could walk in there now, and I don't know if you need to even send that sword forwards. Oh, is he going to be aggressive here? Alright, he's just going to reposition. Oh, nice positioning on this archer. That actually threatens the rifle. That's kind of funny. Another balloon comes up. Moves the sword into the rifle fire? I don't know how I feel about that. He could even move the sword up and heal for like one off of this village. He doesn't go for it. So there's this thing you can do against rifles, and he actually kind of did it successfully, is you can bait them into standing in a bad position by putting a unit in their range, and you're just like, well, are you going to shoot my unit or not? Shoe doesn't fall for it. Oh, there's a really interesting play that can happen here though. Like, the golem could walk up across this side, knock the village down, and then the archer can walk up and shoot the rifle. Or it could shoot the spear and the sword could go for the rifle. Oh, actually, the sword could just hit the rifle. Oh, and shoot, just taking his turn very quickly. I think he's realized that the only way he's going to win is if Saikoya makes a big blunder. And I think Saikoya, you just take a bit of a little bit more time.
Cherry stones defend us.
Throw down, yeah, another shield. I mean, you have to be very careful here because there's a lot of army that could kill a commander that walks up. That said, like, Saikoya could just go for it. He could just move his army. He could slam golems into this dog and the sword and they're under a crystal. Doesn't go for the aggressive version of this play. It's just going to continue to be very conservative. And I think he's going to move a lot of his army into a position where it can hit next turn. And this rifle actually could just die. Yeah, that might be the play. Oh, yeah, actually, because this archer could walk forward, shoot this spear. Spear goes down. Then you have archer and sword hit this. And I actually think that... Oh no, he's going to use the balloon. Okay. He could. I mean, I think you should at least sack the sword to hit this rifle. Nothing else, because that rifle is doing a ton of work, and that's a good value trade to sack one sword to hit a rifle. Alright, so just kind of repositions this army on this front down here. Is he even going to see it? Is he going to see... I mean, he builds high mobility units now because he's like, this is the push, right? Doesn't use the sword! He could have hit this rifle! Oh. I don't know what the thinking there is. Because that does so much gold damage. It's such a good trade. Alright. Now Shu, he's going to start sacking units to try and clear these golems. One dog goes down, two dogs go down. Does have a night crit lined up, so he could go for that as a follow-up. He also has a witch, so... Is it going to be like an attempted lethal? I don't think... Oh, there's double witches. Is this going to happen? He can take this golem down. Alright, 31%. Light comes in. Emeric's on a mountain. I don't think this can be done. He has 80%. If he had an injured unit over here, it would work. But I don't think Commander Golem does it. Gonna hit this. That's not enough. Gonna try and hit other units. Okay. So we're not gonna see any kind of lethal attempt now. I think she's just trying to push in. And do what he can. And now I do believe that there's counter lethal. We've got one archer. One injured golem that could sacrifice itself potentially. But maybe that wasn't the play. Maybe lethal wasn't the idea here. Maybe it was just I want to do a whole bunch of damage this turn. He did do a lot of damage. He's also going to take a lot of damage. This knight's going to go down to possibly a spear crit. A lot of mage heal that can come down. Like double mage crit, this golem. He has a lot of army, and he gets to use his mobility this turn. He's still so far behind on unit count, even after all that. Like, we got unit buys that can come in. No, we don't. He doesn't have any gold. So, 800s. He's behind by 9 units. 2 of those are crystals, so he's behind by 7 effectively, because there's crystals involved. I really, really wish, though, that sword had hit the rifle. I think that would have been a huge play. Alright, ooh, there goes the thief, there goes the knight. And now Saikoya, he just needs to do damage. To the army specifically. Maybe he should have healed this first. Opened up a way to kill that. Yeah, I think that's like a slight misplay. Timer is going to be a big factor here. Alright, gets to heal on this golem. I wonder if he's going to try and go for a lethal. I think there was some misplay this turn, because if he just healed that and that, he could have like hit with the archer, golem crit. What do you do to golems? You do 45. Actually, no, it's on a mountain effectively, so he's just going to pull it back. Okay, so we're just going to use mages and mage crits. Get the damage done this turn. Moves that mage back. Could very well see Emeric move back as well. Yeah, he's just going to put him somewhere safe. If that mage shield had come down first, I think that would be a dead mage on Shu's side. So a slight misplay on Saikoya's part. Could make a big difference, because, you know, you've got double hex here. Plus an injured mage, yeah. I would remove a heal off of the boards. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. I think you want to take down this village now. Can really choke out Shu. No, doesn't go for it. Just gonna go for army damage. I really wish he'd hit this rifle, because this rifle's now so strong. Like, he could have used a sword to get it. Oh, the small play, like the small misplays are eventually gonna cost Saikoya. Because now Shu gets a full turn of counter attack. And gets to put Greenfinger vines up after. I guess we'll see. I mean, the stronghold's still a little bit vulnerable, so you can just keep pushing, but I think Shu's goal right now is kill the mages, have the harpies block. I think that's the play, but we'll see. He's got 12 minutes to think about this. Alright, big hex comes in, kills one crystal. Up. Right, these are more vulnerable now. I'm gonna take this village down with something. I don't know. It's hard to say. Ooh, second hex will do this. This moves here, hexes, hits a bunch of stuff. Even here. Yeah, that crystal is very vulnerable now. And this game is coming down to the wire. It's a really long one as well. We're way past the hour mark. Ooh, more units going down. She's doing the smart thing. When you're up against golems, it's a lot of the time better just to ignore the golems and then go for the rest of the army. Because while golems are strong, like, they aren't an army. Like, you can't just win with golems alone. Alright, breaks this crystal. More units gonna go down. More damage gonna go down. Like, a lot of these spears are gonna take a bunch of damage now. Yeah, actually, yeah, the rifle can only hit swords, so. He's gonna hit what he can. This is a mountain, actually, so even though it's a sword crit, it's still a bit unfortunate. And actually, ooh, he's got Greenfinger vines this turn, so he'll be able to protect a lot of this army. But these spears are actually serving as good blockers. But he could needle his way through. Yeah, he's gonna kill this one. Use a dog to kill this one. Have a harpy potentially finish this one off. Yep, and that means you can put vines down. And Shu really holding on well. Like, he's only down by 4 units now. Oh, he's not even going to use vines. He's just going to keep doing damage. So he's only behind by 3. Could hit this mage with the knight. And he's so strong on this front here. A lot of this is like really quite chunky units. Like a lot of knights still. Managing to do some good trades. Ooh, I don't know about that. Like, sure, you're injuring the archer, but right, ninja mage. That's a knight crit on that dog. Alright. How is Shu gonna play this one out? Or Saikoya? It kills the witch instantly, just like immediately knows this needs to go down. Doesn't have a lot of mage heal left, but he could mage heal these two and this. And yeah, there's still a lot of open units here. Alright, big mage heal comes down. We've got 2 full health units, 2 full health golems even. I don't know about that. Like, this knight could have been used to go for that crit. Alright, takes that mage down. Kills this knight. He's just going to keep pressing forwards. He needs to be really careful with Emeric because the knights can chase him down, the witch can chase him down. Greenfinger could trap him. Just like slams those down in front of the rifle. Gonna pick off more units where he can. I really want him to back capture it, like take this down with a sword. That'd be a very good play, I think. Do this, yep, takes that down. Keep moving forward. And he's pressuring the stronghold now. Yeah, he's just going right on top of that. And yeah, he's setting up to just kill it because it's vulnerable on some sides. He just walks Emeric back. He's like, Emeric, you're out of this fight. I do not need you anymore. Gets another knight to cover the crit on this knight. Honestly, could walk this golem forward, hit. Yeah, just hits a knight with it. Realizes I just need to get rid of your knight count. And this is really smart because it forces a unit to come and attack. This sword has to come down and hit this thief now. And also, actually, if the sword comes down and hits the thief, he can't recapture it, so he's gonna be behind on economy still. Oh, what's you gonna go for here? He may very well try and go for the counterattack and win that way. Like put vines up around the stronghold to keep it alive and just like rush the opponent's stronghold? Or trap Emeric. Actually, in theory, you could trap Emeric and put defensive vines up. Well, I don't know, maybe he doesn't have range for that though. But he like can't buy units because he's having to use hexes. I mean, well, actually, you could kill this and that would give him a hex or some unit buys, but or a mage heal because he's already used his hex. The other witch went down. And I think Saikoya's got this, but Shu's making him work really hard for it. Mage crit comes in, it does a lot of damage. That golem is on a beach. Oh, gets the kill as well. Nice. Picks off one golem. And if he can continue to thin out this unit count, it actually does slow down Saikoya significantly. Like he might actually kill this other golem too. That would put Saikoya in a really rough spot. The unit count lead is thinning out. Alright, sacrifices a sword. I think he just wants to make sure this goes down. We're gonna use another knight. Ooh. Right, so he has to put Greenfinger in a little bit of a vulnerable position, but he does take down the second golem. And actually, the power units in Saikoya's army are gone. Shu is looking in a pretty good spot. Like, sure, he's behind on economy. Saikoya needs to win fights. Like, Shu is doing so well on the fight front. Ignores the thief, though. Alright, so what are we going to see? Mage goes down. But this golem, I think, is going to die for that. Okay. Now the question is, what can Saikoya do? Can he actually take this stronghold down? Or is he might just kill the army. Ooh, 1%. That's rough. Alright, gonna clear the knight. Nice. Yeah, he's just gonna use a bunch of different units to kill basically any unit he can see that can go down. And ooh, actually, he's got a knight crit lined up on this sword, which is perfect. Oh, but he's gonna use the... Interesting. He's gonna use the spear instead. And I guess the sword's gonna kill this. No, the sword can't follow up, but oh, the mage can. And yeah, he's just doing the damage he can now. And honestly, I think this is going to work out, even though it's not perfect. And I think Emeric kind of wants to go for this. Oh, ooh, puts him in range of a golem. And that, I think, might actually be lethal if he went for it. So no, he's just going to pull back. There's like an injured knight crit. Hex and a golem. And yeah, Saikoya is just like, I'm just going to go in. I'm going to slam into your army with what I have and pick off everything I can. And we're on turn 21. And oh, look at that unit count. 45 to 25. Yeah, Saikoya doing a ton of damage. A lot of this army's injured too, so. I think this golem can go down. Yeah, Harpy crit as well. But even then, I do not think Shu can bring this back. He's so far behind on economy too. Like spending that witch hex, like he isn't buying units. He bought one sword last turn. He even picks off the... But then again, you have to move your knights over to do that. Yeah, chat who are a couple minutes behind are saying, oh, you know, this looks winnable for Shu. I don't know. This looks very rough right now. Oh, but he could, in theory, take out the mage, and that would mean the flyers only have to deal with one archer. These balloons need to come back and pick up units. Yeah, they're not even killing units at this point. Oh, kills the mage. Nicely done. I think he could pick off this sword as well. Yeah, it's coming to the point where like Shu, all Shu has to fight with is swords and like a golem and a knight. And like a really injured knight at that. He even has to like burn a heal on a sword. And Saikoya is continuing to build golems. And will continue to build golems. And sure, you know, there are these knights that can do some damage, but he can just like continue to just smack into things. Ooh, another 1% sword, but burns the swords just to follow it up. Kills the knight. So that is the knight count down to 2 on this side. Ooh, big knight crit. That's huge. There isn't really much of a good follow-up on it though, but I suppose Emeric could run up and finish this off. If something else hits it first. Oh no, he's just going to use a knight to do that? Okay, oh, he can finish it with his own golem. Okay, so Emeric can stay in a kind of safe position. Hey, he's just going to keep building golems. He should use these balloons to reinforce really. And just high mobility units is what he needs right now. And yeah, just like hit stuff up here that you can. Even says like, I'm just going to put a balloon where you have to hit it as a blocker. Yeah, that's not a position you want to fight into because you're going to get hit on 2 sides. So moves back, lands a spear crit. Injured spear though, so it's not going to kill. Yeah, just takes down another village. So she was on 500 income. Saikoya here would triple the income of his opponent. She's running out of ways to capture villages back, so these two are just going to stay uncaptured. This one, not going to get back. He could get this back, but he needs to fight with these swords. Alright, he's gonna... Actually, he does manage to capture a village back. Amazing. And, you know, he's gonna kill the units that he can. But He is just, I mean, I think Greenfinger might just be dead at this point unless he moves. Even Greenfinger can't really stand and fight.
Nature will claim
Alright,
you.
we got Vines coming out. Shoot, he's just gonna try and stall for time, but he is behind on time. Yeah, you press buttons at this point. You play quick. You don't have to be optimal moves, and neither of them can make optimal moves. Neither of them can really think at this point. Saikoya has like 4 more minutes though of time to work with than Shu does. So yeah, just you run forward and you hit things. Anything that can kill, you go for it. This golem could hit this village, you go for it. It is a little bit choked up, so it's kind of difficult. Could have healed this golem, to be honest, but... Oh, gonna use a mage heal instead. Alright, that's a good play. And yeah, you just hit stuff. Try and kill as much as you can. I actually think you could take this vine down, potentially. Because yeah, you can get a full health crit on it. Oh, that's a nice maneuver there, actually. Oh, and now he can use the sword. Oh, he gets the night crit on the stronghold. Right, so he wants to finish the stronghold off now. And yeah, this sword can just hit whatever it wants. Yep, goes for that. Now the golem moves up to follow. Could be worth like healing this knight off of something. Hits the stronghold again. Another knight comes out. Just has to keep Emeric safe. Don't put him anywhere near the front. Heals off this village. Nice aggressive positioning for the knight. And yeah. Shu, he's fought valiantly, but he's so far behind still. And I think he's just run out of tools to fight with. Like, he can kill swords with his swords. But now he doesn't have... I guess he has a harpy to deal with a knight. He can hex again, which is okay damage. Oh, but this lives on 9%. Oh, but no, he can follow up and kill it. Oh, but he has to use swords to fight, like, things that swords aren't designed to fight against. And I feel like this position from Greenfinger is actually just death now. Okay, he kills the dog, so at least he's safe from that lethal, but... I think Greenfinger's at a point where sword suicide, double spear suicide, golem hit, archer hit, this golem hits as well, you heal it up. I think there's enough here to just like suicide into Greenfinger now. And he's already a little bit injured. I don't know if that makes it less guaranteed to get a lethal. Or maybe you just don't bother. Maybe you just keep smacking things. Oh, yeah, he's just gonna keep hitting stuff. Gonna hit a knight with the golem. Walks back and heals. Yeah, it's a good value heal. I actually think you want to injure Greenfinger at this point. With this golem. Oh, yeah, he's just gonna grind it out. Yeah, I think it's worth just hitting into Greenfinger just so he's less able to kill units. Yeah, Knight walks up, hits the stronghold. He's just gonna grind the stronghold down. Gonna move Emeric. into a more aggressive position because he can. There's barely any army left. And this is like a boxing match that they're in like the 15th round. They've both been knocking each other around all match. And they're both just struggling to hit each other. Like Shu is taking much more of a beating, but he's tired Saikoya out so much to the point where there's so little left. There's like not that much fight left in him. He spent all of his money on a hex and a heal. He's just skipping buys at this point. He's just like, I just need to finish you off. Oh, he just can't. Like, this golem's still alive. He is managing to kill units though. He killed a whole bunch this turn. But oh, he actually has managed to grind this army down a bunch, but he has nothing to fight these golems with. And there's so much of this army is just Vine. There's so little units left. Right, hits the mage, kills the mage. Yeah, this mage is gonna walk up, kill the harpy. Do you try and go for a lethal here? I don't think so. Greenfinger's up on the hill. He's not gonna bother, he's just gonna finish this off by killing the army. Probably could use the spear to do that, but whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. Neither of them bothering to go for like village captures at this point either. Like, I guess this sword's doing a decent job of keeping the economy going for Shu. Like, this sword actually kind of an MVP right now. But yeah, even like just taking bad trades just to like do damage. Uses a mage heal because like why not? Anything to keep the momentum going. And yeah, these 3 golems. Like, Shu does not have an army that will deal with 3 golems. He's got an injured sword, an injured mage, a witch, and a Greenfinger that's like not even full health. And he's gonna keep killing stuff. Anything he can kill this spear. He's gonna put vines up in front. I wonder if he's gonna mage heal. He might not, he might just walk back. He's gonna go for the capture. Alright. But the witch is gonna fall. And I think this will fall as well. I think he could actually drop a... Oh, could he drop a crystal? I don't know if there's any point in that. Right, he's gonna take the vine down. Emeric can kill the swords. Oh, Knight crit does it. Never mind. And Saikoya, after probably one of the hardest fought games I've ever seen in Wargroove, finally cracks Shu and wins. That was such a rough game. Oh my god, like... You could tell they were both of them were super under pressure. I would not be surprised if they come to me and say, we need a break, we're gonna finish the set tomorrow. If I was in either of those players' positions, I would be like physically shaking after a match like that. It's so hard. And War in chat saying, you may not like it, but this is peak performance. I mean, this is what happens when you have like 2 absolute titans in the community duke it out. And Shu did such a good job of just holding on. He was behind for so much of that game. I've got a DM coming in from Saikoya. Game 3 tomorrow, so they're going to wrap it up here. And actually, I'm kind of thankful because my voice is struggling at this point as well. Yeah, that was a hell of a game too. Well played to you and Saikoya.